Yes, welcome. Welcome to the Brent Daniels Real Estate Investing Show. We've got a fantastic show for you today. We're talking about what to offer in 2024 to the property owners based on what the cash buyers, what investors in your marketplace are purchasing the properties at what percentages. So we're going to play around with that. I'm going to show you exactly how to figure that out in your specific town. You could use this right here, this instruction that I'm going to give you, that I'm going to show you, to be able to pull the data right away, just online for free, so that you can accurately negotiate with these property owners, right? Before we get into let me do this. We've got three unbelievable guests today. Three unbelievable guests. In about 28 minutes, it's going to be Jeremy Thornburg, my disposition manager, former Eagle. There you go. Former Packer as well, Jeremy Thornburg. He'll be on the show live. He's going to be breaking it down. He's an absolute genius when it comes to dispoing properties. Okay, he's got a lot of different techniques, and he's got a lot of different ways to get the most out of every single deal. And he builds what we call healthy tension with the investors that we work with, so that we don't, just get steamrolled by them. But also we're not steamrolling them. It's a very win-win relationship with our cash buyer database, which is critical. After that, I'm going to have Jamal Damji, you know it, Keegley, Astro Flipping, done over 7,000 wholesale deals. He is unbelievable at pulling comparables, and he's got his thumb on the pulse of what people are buying in different markets. So we're going to totally pick that apart. So make sure that you stick around for that. And then we're going to finish the show with an incredible wholesaler. He went 75,000, 90,000, 101. 101,000 the last 3 months in 2023, based out of Georgia. Hugh Boy is his name. He's a good friend. He's absolutely incredible. He came to this country at 16 years old and didn't speak English. Okay? So if you need a little bit of shot, you need a little bit of inspiration today, make sure you stick around to the end of the show, because he's going to blow your face off. It's absolutely incredible, his story. And he's going to talk about how he has grown his business and how he's evaluating the deals as well. All right. Now, I want to get into this because I think it's important to talk about when we're talking about what to offer the property owners to get the most out of every opportunity that we have. Now, one thing that's important to talk about is the conversations that you have with cash buyers. There's one conversation that if you have this conversation with a cash buyer, the way that they respond to you during this conversation will tell you everything you need to know about them. Okay? The conversation you need to have with cash buyers and investors in your area is this. Listen, I need to get the most out of every single deal that I get, because I need to pour it back into my company, into my marketing. I need to be able to be out there finding the best opportunities for you so that I can consistently bring you deals, right? That's now, when you have this conversation with them, they're going to go one of two ways. They could either be like, you know what, I don't care. I don't care if you make as much money as possible. I want you to. I support that. I get it. You're the marketing engine of my business. That's absolutely incredible, right? Yeah, go for it. Like, I'm going to cheerlead you on. And trust me, I've had these conversations with buyers, and the ones that are like, yeah, go and do it. Make as much as you can. If the numbers work, the numbers work. But if they go the other way and they go, well, I can't have you making too much. I just don't feel good about buying properties if you're making too much. Then avoid those. Get those guys out of your life. Don't send them any deals. Remember, there is more money. There is more money. There is more money. There is more money than there are deals. Okay? There's going to be more cash buyers than there are deals. So if one is going to try to restrict how much you make on your deals, get rid of them. They're not worth your time, and they're going to be terrible to work with for long term. So you got to be planting in the seeds of your cash buyer. Listen, we're going to be doing deals back and forth for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I'm going to be bringing you the best deals that you can put in your portfolio or flip or do whatever you want to do with these properties. But don't come at me for what I make on these deals. Don't come at me for my skills of negotiating. Don't come at me for my ability to go out and market and find the best deals possible and bring those to you. Okay? Now, if they're on board with that and you're having that conversation, you make it a positive thing that you make a lot of money off of your deals, it's going to be a great relationship. Have those conversations. If people are trying to beat you up, and there are very big notable companies that will beat you up that I suggest that you do not work with ever. And if you're in the comment section, you know who I'm talking about, put it in here. Put it in the comment section who you think I'm talking about, big companies that are absolutely atrocious they want to know exactly how much you're going to make before they commit to a deal. Knock it off, right? Knock it off. That's not the people that you want to work with. Let's get them out of the industry. Let's get them out of the industry, all right? But have that conversation with your cash buyers. Have that conversation with the cash buyers that say, listen, the more money I make, the more I can put into marketing. The more I can put into marketing, the more deals I can bring you. It's a win-win-win. Isn't that right, Mr. Cash Buyer? Yes. All right, good. So that is just fundamental. When you want to make big deals and you're nervous about it or whatever else, have that conversation with your cash buyers. And the ones that keep coming back to you over and over again, have those conversations with them. All right? Top 5 deals that we did last year in descending order. All right? In ascending order. Number 5, 60,000 was a pay-per-click. Number 4, 67,712. That was a text to our AI list that we pulled from flipfinder.ai. That's 67,712. Text message, 69,900. Same list, text to the AI list. We use launch control for our texting. It is back. It is phenomenal. We're getting the contact rates back up, which is huge for our industry. Now, I wouldn't rely on text message marketing 100% because you just never know what the carriers are going to do, and I don't like them having control of my business, right? But it's working now. It's a great return. We were getting 1 to 9 return on texting. It was phenomenal. Number 2 was another pay-per-click at 70,592. Number 1 was a pay-per-click at 95,000. So our top 5 deals last year were 363,204. Why do I mention that? Because we know how to negotiate. Like what I'm talking to you about in this is exactly the process that my company uses to be able to really discover what we can offer the property owners, because then we know what we can put it out to our cash buyers for. So this is the exact process that I want you to follow so that you can go and get some big deals. I mean, that's 363,204 in just our top 5 deals last year. And you don't get there unless you really know how to comp and really know what your buyers are going to pay for certain deals. Because a couple of these were kind of like, well, we're not real sure what we can put this out at. And if you put it out too low, yeah, it gets bid up, but there's only a certain amount of times you can keep going back to your cash buyer database before they just get super annoyed and won't look at your stuff. So there's a fine line there. So you really want to price your deals right as soon as you put them out there. All right? Awesome. And by the way, in the comments, guys, I don't care if you're watching this live. If you are, welcome. I love you. Great to see you. If you're watching the replay of this, make sure that you put in the comments section where you do business. People are doing deals in the comments section, right? People can click on your YouTube, send you a message and say, hey, listen, I'm in Mobile, Alabama as well. So make sure that you're doing that, especially if you're building your business off of referrals, especially if you're like helping people sell their deals, or you're just looking to jumpstart your business and see if people have some opportunities that you can sell for them. Make sure you're connecting in the comments section. All right, make sure you're doing that. It's like a cheat code for finding people that are actually doing business right now. So make sure that you put in the comments section where you do business and start connecting as the show goes on or as you're watching this. Don't just sit passively and watch me do this thing. But yeah, here we go. You ready? So number one thing that's going to determine what you offer your property owner is the inventory in your market. It's the inventory in your market. How many months of inventory are in your market? All right, I'm going to show you how to do this, Matt. Let's jump into the computer here. All right, I want you to go to realtor.com. Just full screen this, Matt. I want you to pull up, I just pulled up Minneapolis because I was just curious about Minneapolis. But you'll see right here, I just put for Minneapolis. It was right off of the main screen. I just went Minneapolis. You don't have to do anything fancy here, and it pulls 1,032 homes. Okay. Now, what you want to do is write down 1,032 homes. All right. And then what you do is you go to this listing status here. I don't know why my cursor's not showing on this, Matt, but let's make sure we change. Full screen it. Okay, there we go. That doesn't do it. Anyway, listing status there. And then right here is hide, pending, and contingent. Do you guys see I just marked this one right here? And then click over. And you're going to see it's got 662 properties now. 662 properties. All right? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my calculator, and I've got this opened up on the whiteboard here. Can you go to the iPad, Matt? We've got 1,032. Okay, we got 1,032 minus 662 equals 370. So you got 370 listings, 370 pendings. This shows you how many are pending. Okay, this means that they are under contract. That means they're listed for sale. Somebody put a contract on them, and now they are pending, right? This is showing you, okay, this is how many properties are selling every single month, all right? And then you go and you take this number, the 662, right? Take 662, and then you divide that over 370, and that'll get you your months of inventory, all right? So 662 divided by 370, bippity boppity boo, we're at 1.78 months in Minneapolis. This is a seller's market. If this is above 6 months, this is a buyer's market. If it's below 6 months, it is a seller's market. And I would probably play around with that, but we're not even near that in most markets. You could be like 4 months as a buyer's market. It kind of ticks up. This is kind of like a lagging indicator because you don't really catch that until the market's already shifted. So, but you want to be pulling this all the time, because here is the equation. When you are less than here, 3 months of inventory, you want to go ARV, which is the after repaired value, the fixed up, it's looking great. ARV multiplied by 80% minus repairs equals your wholesale price. Now, is the wholesale price what you offer the seller? No. You subtract how much you want to make. Some people put in here $10,000 as a minimum. Some people put $20,000. Some people, we start a minimum of $30,000. Some people go $40,000. And then you decide, then is your max allowable offer. MAO. This is what you offer the seller. Okay, this is the most that you want to offer the seller on that property. So it's not, now, if you have more than, guys, take a screenshot of that real quick, just so that you know. First of all, less than 3 months inventory, you want an 80% minus repairs. Okay? Next is, if you're more than 3 months of inventory, then you want to be at ARV multiplied by 70%, the traditional 70% minus repairs. Okay? Equals wholesale price. And then you subtract what you want to make, your minimum standard on what you want to make. All right? Got it. Now, Brent, What do we do in those crazy markets? What do we do in San Diego? What do we do in Seattle? What do we do in Miami? What do we do in all those? If you have less than 1 month of inventory, you go ARV times 90% minus repairs equals the wholesale price. Sorry for my handwriting. This thing actually helps me out with the handwriting. It's like all fancier. My handwriting is much worse, but this thing's kind of helping me out. So technology wins again. And then you minus what your minimum standard is. Standard for what you want to make. Call it 10K in the smaller markets to 40K in some of the bigger markets. And that gets you to your max allowable offer. This is how you sharpen the pencil on this, right? This is how you go, and you don't just go with a blind ARV times 70%. If you do that, the people that know this, the people that watch this, the people that are in it every single day, they know they're going to beat you like a drum because they can offer 10 to 20% more than you're offering. Don't do that. Make sure that you follow this plan. I am telling you, this works. And I'm going to bring on Jamal. I'm going to bring on Jeremy. I'm going to bring on Hugh, and they're going to confirm, and they're going to talk about it. I think in Phoenix we're at about 82 to 84% minus repairs. Now, when the market shifted and interest rates started climbing in 2022, we had to shift back down to 70% because the inventory went up. Inventory is what tells you the speed of the market. Why does properties listed on the market matter is the real question. Why does that even matter? Why? Because the people that we sell to are typically going to be flippers, right? I mean, that's how we make the bulk of our money is we find ugly houses, we get big checks. Now, that's not all of them, and I'll break down how to do some creative deals later in this show. Don't you worry about that. I'm going to show you, how to figure out, when you're speaking to a property owner, what's their highest priority because their speed, convenience, and price. And we'll go through all that after the segment with Jeremy. But I'm telling you, if you understand what is going on the market with properties that are being flipped or sold to traditional buyers, you're going to understand what the speed is and the size of your cash buyer pool at that time. Okay? If that makes sense, please put it in the comments that this makes sense. If there's any kind of questions, Matt, just let me know. Just kind of gauge that if there's any kind of mystery to this. I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. Another way to do this is very, 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 very back of the napkin way to do this is to understand just to take Zillow and use these equations right here. Matt, will you pull that up? Perfect. If you go into Zillow and the estimate is 250,000 or more, go 50%. Okay? If it's 250,000 to 100,000, you want to be at 35%, and if it's at 100,000, you want to be at 10%. The reason for that is because the higher the value, the more that you can spread it out the repair budget. But when you're at a property that's 100,000 and it needs $50,000 worth of work, and an investor wants at least $20,000 worth of profit or $15,000 worth of profit, you need to get it at 10%. So do you have to go and comp every single property every single time to be able to throw out some sort of offer to your sellers? No. You can simply do this. And the way that we do this in our business, just to gauge, I mean, obviously we're trying to pull the price out of them, try to pull the price out of them. But, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, I'm looking on my computer right now. It looks like your neighbors in the similar condition that you told me your property is in, and the similar size square footage, similar size lot size is going for around 50%, 35%, 10%. You made an offer without making an offer. You're just peppering it in. What is there? This is what's going on in the marketplace with similar properties. And without a doubt, if you look within a mile radius, you will find properties that have sold in those ranges, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So you can go confidently with that. Now, if they want more, they're going to tell you. If there's more, if their property needs less repairs, they're going to tell you. But you gotta pull that out of them. You got to have that quality conversation with them. But this is a great way to be able to understand: is their expectations of price in alignment with about where I can be, right? Because if you look at these, if you look at 80% minus repairs. It used to be, this equation, pull it up again, Matt. This equation used to be 66%, 15%, and 25% during the heyday. But the issue is construction cost has gone bananas. Construction cost has gone bananas. It used to be you could rehab pretty much everything for $25 a square foot for a whole house. But here's the numbers now. And I want you to write this down. And you could use this very simply as you're running your comps, because the mystery is, well, Brent, okay, I understand I can pull the comps, and I'm going to show you the steps to pulling to doing the comps. You know, you've done your due diligence here. You understand how to multiply it by 90, but what are the repairs? What are the repairs? Here you go. If it is an easy remodel, use $25 a square foot. Okay? If it's a total remodel, which by total I mean kitchens, baths, countertops, fixtures, everything, I want you to use $50 a square foot. And if it's like the property's gutted, it's really, really, really rough. It's just horrible. Then you go $75 a square foot. All right? And then on top of this, even when it's horrible and you got all these things and it's $75 a square foot, if it needs some major repairs, I would add $10K to each of it. It needs a whole new roof. It needs whole new plumbing. It needs a whole new pool surfacing. It needs a whole new heat pump. It needs, all air conditioning, all these things. Add $10K to these numbers. Okay? These are more like cosmetic numbers. This is like cosmetic, and you can use 75 and horrible for like properties that are going to be above 500,000 when they get fixed up. They need to be done well. They need better fixtures. They need better appliances. They need better design elements to the property to get, the best of the best. Or you're just in an expensive market like a California or a Florida or a Washington or some parts of Texas, some parts of Arizona. The higher end, even Minneapolis. I mean, there's real craftsmen that need to be involved, and you're gonna pay for that. And so, but if it's a pretty typical house and a typical street and it's below, let's call 500,000, then you can go with $50 a square foot for a cosmetic remodel that makes it look really, really, really nice. All right. And put in the comments section if you think that it's more or less or what it is in your market. I'd be curious to know. That'd be fantastic to know. But that's going to get you in a really good ballpark. So now it's really just understanding how do you comp the property, right? And so, Matt, if you'll pull up the 7 steps to comping, we'll go through this. Guys, remember, Jeremy Thornburg's popping in here, my disposition manager. He's absolutely incredible. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars in assignment fees and flips and all sorts of different, just assignment fees and flips, I guess. Double closes, I guess you could call. But he's gonna give us words of wisdom for 15 minutes. It's going to be absolutely incredible, so stick around. He's the best of the best. 7 steps to comping. Number 1 is the neighborhood. All right, Matt, if you could just pull this up here and we can just go into, can you do both at the same time or no? He's going to do both at the same time. Let's just go absentee owners. I'm going to search this. I'm in flipfinder.ai. This is where we pull our AI list. But if I'm looking at properties, let's get out of the condos. Let's get into just single family. And we're looking at a property, whatever. We're looking in here. You go to this comparable button and you're able to pull the comparables in that area very, very, very specifically. Like, look at that. It zooms it right in. Perfect. Now, this is a mile distance, right? If you go back to the comping rules, then you want to stay as tight to it as possible. Neighborhood first, half mile second, mile third. I mean, you should be able to get that. Now, if you're really, really rural, you're just going to have to spread it out as much as possible. The second one is you're going to have to look at the timeline. In this market, because it's ever changing and it's pretty quick, you want to go back 90 days. You want to go back 3 months. You want to go back 3 months. That's the best one. It's right here. You could do that here in this one here in the last 3 months. You're looking for sales. I don't care about lot size in these comps right now, but it's pulling, the properties that are within the square footage range. And so you've got these comps here, and you're able to just click them and see what's going on with these properties and get a pretty good idea of how comparable they are to the one that we're looking at, right? And so, yeah, that's a condo. We need houses. But anyway, you guys get the point. But that's a mile distance. You can certainly shorten that up into shorter distances, which I highly suggest you do. If you can go and get enough comps in a quarter mile or a half mile, you're going to be prime time. All right. And these are the appraisal rules that are going on with when the property gets flipped. So pull that back up, the comps. Next is age, plus or minus 15 years. Size, plus or minus 15%. Floor plan. Listen, do not comp properties that are 2 stories with 1 stories. Do not comp a townhouse with a single family house. Do not comp a fourplex with a single family house. All right, they got to be the same stories and they got to be the same type of properties. Okay, so floor plan matters. Age plus or minus 15 years, size plus or minus 15%, floor plan. Condition, how much will it take to renovate a rehab? Well, we just went through that. Is it $25, $50, or $75 a square foot? And then number 7 is, what's the potential? What's the highest sale in the neighborhood? What's the highest sale in the neighborhood? What can you get for, if you get this property looking absolutely picture perfect, how much will it sell for? That's the key. That's what you really want to be basing your numbers off of, because that's how you work backwards into these numbers. And remember, let's go over this one more time before we bring Jeremy on here. Let's remember this. You got to get the inventory. If it's less than 3 months, you want to be at ARV times 80%. If it's more than 3 months, you want 70%. If it's less than 1 month, you want 90%. Got it? Good. Make sure that you're using these numbers when you're evaluating your deals. And so make sure that you're comping right. You can certainly comp with Zillow, but really refine your numbers. Be a pro about it. Get a tool that you can really pull the best comps. And we use flipfinder.ai. It's phenomenal. And you can pull all the AI lists that we talked about, which is incredible. And it's the only source that has that AI list. It's not like a tired landlord or vacant list or some of these other ones. This is, they went back and pulled all the data to be able to figure out what's going on, what properties are likely to sell based on past trends, and what people are likely to sell it at a discount because of past trends of the demographics of the other sellers that have sold over the past 40 years. Bananas. So there you go. That leads me in to my man, one of my best friends, disposition manager, college roommate, played college football with him, Jeremy Thornburg. Jeremy, how are you, bud?
Hey, great, guys. How's it going, Brent? Saw you had that picture of my twin brother I killed that played back in 2004.
The one that weighed like 215, had some muscle, and ran a 4.4. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, real close to me right now.
Yeah. Now you're a $160 and run a 7 flat.
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close.
Awesome. So Jeremy, comping rules right now, when you're evaluating, when our acquisition managers, Ryan and Chad, and now Joshua, are sending you in deals, or Bronson sending you in deals, what information do you need and what numbers are you working off of?
The info that I like to for them to bring in is the age of the roof, the AC, all the majors, right? Because you went over a great job of how to estimate the repairs on just the normal updates. But we want to know, is there anything on top of that, right? Before we go see the property, or maybe you're virtual, or like, so we want to know the majors. Like, hey, is there a hole in the roof, or is it brand new roof?
Right.
Is the AC 20 years old and the flipper is going to have to replace that? Or is it 5 years old and, you're going to have to do some little maintenance on it? It's not going to cost that much. So the majors is important. Other than that, it's like, is there anything incredible about the condition that I need to know? Is it fire damage? Was there a flood? Anything like that? Other than that, we're following the 7 steps of comping, like you just went over, where we're estimating the repairs, just like you went over. There's nothing too special about it that I need to know from the acquisition managers.
Yeah, but what affects the percentage that the investors are going to buy at? You know what I mean? Because it's that top line. It's not the top line. Top line number is the ARV, but that second number, that what do we multiply the ARV by to make it make sense, so that, one, we can give them a great deal, but 2, we can make the most? Because it's a balancing act.
Yeah, so it's 100% where you went over the actives, the pendings, what's the inventory in the market. It's where's the market going, right? Like, it could be neighborhood specific. It's not just your whole market. Does that neighborhood have 20 actives and 15 flips that flipper is going to have to compete with? And on top of that, not only neighborhood specific, what's the population of your market? If you're a rural market and you're trying to lock this up because it has no actives at 90%, it's 100% of cancellation. We get these rural properties at 25-30% of the value because there's no buyers out there.
That's a great point. Yeah, the inventory sometimes isn't going to be the only factor if you're really rural. That's a great point. Because, I mean, you could look at, areas that have, 40,000 people and they don't have a tremendous amount of listings, and think, oh, wow, well, these properties are selling pretty quick here. But you could be on the outskirts of that town and there's no buyers. Because of access for contractors, for getting supplies out there, all sorts of different things. Seasonality probably affects that. Is it rural and it's covered in 3 feet of snow right now? And you're trying to sell this thing in December or January. All those things matter when it's rural properties. But for the most part, I think most people are sticking to major or mid markets, or markets where it's not completely rural. But we do see a lot in the Rhino tribe of comping in really rural areas, because you pull a list and if you don't put parameters around the boundaries of where you're pulling the list, you're going to get a bunch of rural. So that's a great point to, if you're going to go rural, make sure that you're getting significant discounts. What do you think?
I think that saves a lot of new wholesalers a lot of time, is, throw out that low offer and move on from those rural properties. You're going to get a lot of headaches trying to comp those properties, because there's nothing for 5 miles around that farmhouse. So no, low offer, move on. Another tip of the trade on comping is, remember those major reductions. If your subject property is backing into Walmart, that the end buyer isn't going to love that. So it's going to have that deduction. If you have a 1 bathroom compared to a 2 bathroom, nobody likes to share a bathroom with your brothers and sisters and your mom and dad. So that's a deduction. Be careful.
By the way, if you're comping a 1 bathroom, only get 1 bathroom comps. Only. I'm telling you, it is a huge difference in the amount of end buyers that'll buy a 1 bathroom versus a 2. Huge difference.
And we're, depending on ARV, sometimes we're doing 20-25K reduction. For sure. If you're forced, you're looking in that neighborhood and you're even time traveling back to 6 months, 9 months. Nothing's popping up that's been fixed up. You're expanding. You're maybe breaking some rules of crossing major roads. You're looking for something, and there's nothing. There's only 2 bedrooms around. Make sure you do that 25K reduction at least.
Yep. What about major roads? You said major roads. What if it sides it? What if it's fronts it?
Yeah, so it all depends on ARV. If you're more of a lower ARV type, 400K below, 450K below type area, you're doing like a 10 to 20K reduction. But if you're on those upper ARVs, it's like 10 to 20% reduction on those
percent, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Jeremy was talking 10 to 15,000 versus 10 to 20%. Because you get into those upper price points and people that are that middle class, upper middle class, they don't want to be on major roads. It's a huge, huge, huge price reduction. It just is. And oftentimes when you're in that price point, it's a family home. It's a bigger house. It's a 3-bed, 4-bed, 5-bed house. And people are terrified of major roads with their kids around.
Jimmy getting hit, right?
Right. And even pet owners. People that just really they got their fur babies and they love their fur babies. I love my fur baby. And they just don't want the opportunity for that fur baby to run out and get crunched on the road. So it's a big factor. It is I would say 80%. Would you say 80% of our buyers will not buy on a major road?
Yep. I'd say it's pretty high. And it's a domino effect. The lower amount of buyers, the lower the offers, the lower the percentage.
Yep.
So I would even, if you were thinking you're going to do 80%, 84%, 90%, even lower the percentage a bit.
Yep.
On top of the reduction.
You know what else affects how much you can get per deal? What day you send it out at.
Yeah. So I love only doing Monday through Thursday.
Yep.
I hate doing Fridays because entrepreneurs, they're thinking about their weekend. It's kind of a 2.5 day weekend for all these entrepreneurs.
Yep.
They're not going to be working past 11 o'clock on Friday. And so if you send that out, you have a lower chance of getting all that action. So you're going to just have to send it out again the next week.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed with buyers, the second time around, they think they can take advantage of you. Like, oh, they're getting desperate.
Yep.
They're having to send this out multiple times. Nobody wants this. I could lower my offer. So Monday through Thursday, guys. It's
almost like a property that's on the market that does a price reduction.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You do a price reduction and people are like, aha. They smell the blood in the water, right? They're like, well, they did a price reduction. I can go in $20,000 lower and get this deal because they're desperate, right?
Yep.
And so make sure that you're listening to Jeremy Monday through Thursday. That's prime time to send out your deals. Friday, maybe some Fridays, but for the most part, avoid Friday, Saturday, Sunday so that you get the most eyeballs on those deals. And the more people that see it, the more offers you're going to get on that property, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's my philosophy is more buyers see it, higher the offers. So that's why we do what we do when we dispo is we first send out to our whole 11,000 person buyers list.
So what's our percentages in Phoenix versus like Tucson?
So Phoenix, we do 84% ARV minus repairs, minus assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And, give or take, when I go to sell it, it ends up being a lot of times 86, 88%, sometimes 90%, depending on the actives and pendings and all that stuff like you discussed.
Mm-hmm.
To Tucson is more like 78 to 80%. We have less buyers over there, so we're getting less money.
Right. Got it.
If we're going now to the smaller cities of Arizona, now I'm doing 70 to 75%. So population does matter. How many buyers you have there, it's all a mixture of coming up with where to start from based on that repair value.
How many deals are you selling this week?
I got 4 and 5. I think we got a 5th this morning.
We did?
I believe so.
Where at?
I've not got the contract yet, but I heard a rumor that Ryan might have got a 5th.
Nice. Well, he got one yesterday too.
Oh, maybe that's the one. Maybe I just haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
It was like a condo in Mesa.
Okay, yeah, that's the 5th one. So
yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So 5. So when I have multiple properties like that, I send one off in the morning, one off in the afternoon.
You don't send them both in the same email?
No, I like to keep it more like organized. If we have like 10 to sell in a week, then yeah, I can mix them up. What I like to do is send out. I kind of like highlight the property. Hey, here's one in South Phoenix at this price. Come get it. And then any extra inventory, I'll just put a little blurb at the bottom of the email blast.
Extra. What email service are we using?
MailChimp.
MailChimp. Yep. And do you have to season that so that it doesn't just get blocked? Like, what's the best way to do that so that you can send out a lot of emails without being marked as spam? I mean, obviously getting the permission from the people that we're working with and having people actually know who we are when we're sending it to them. But besides that, is there something that you're doing to make sure that those are getting delivered?
You need to kind of develop your list organically. You can't like open up an account with MailChimp, throw 5,000 buyers in there on a mass upload, and then send out an email. And instantly it'll get flagged, and you're going to have to go through the red tape of proving how you got those buyers, showing that they gave you permission. So, if you go on there and you're adding buyers as you get them, that really lowers your chances of being flagged by them.
Yeah.
Having a web form, a website, showing that you're legit also helps you get to that red tape on MailChimp.
So our goal over the next 3 years is to get to $1 million a month wholesaling. At that level, how many people do we need dispoing for us?
I predict about 4.
4.
About 4. I think you could do comfortably, 16, 20 deals a month. So that'd be 80 deals a month.
Yep. Awesome.
So that'd be a pretty comfortable zone, I think. Not comfortable, but everyone's working full time, working their.
Yeah, but listen, idle hands do the devil's work. You want to make sure everybody's busy so that everybody can keep, one, sharpening their skills, building up their experience, and building up their knowledge base on what buyers are buying in each market.
Yeah, it gives them some time to learn the market, keep building the list where they're not always just selling all the time. If you're just overwhelmed and never have a shot to grow that list, you're never going to grow your assignments.
Yep. Love it. And what will you be looking for somebody on your team to dispo? What do you think makes a good disposition manager? I
think someone that is kind of like, I'll use a Top Gun reference.
Nice.
Your acquisition managers is Maverick, right? You want the Maverick. It's out there. He's kind of
Iceman,
a good-looking guy that's good with people.
Yeah.
And then you want the disposition manager to be Iceman. The guy that's not going to let these buyers kind of bully them. Hey, I'm giving you this price. Give it to me now. I need. A lot of buyers go, hey, I'm offering $300 if you assign it to me tonight.
Right.
Well, it's 6 p.m. Where are you going to be at 8 a.m.? It's like you just gotta. You don't have to let the emotion get to you in the negotiation. And I think that's what makes a great disposition manager. Is it someone that
I love that
can follow the process, just and not like get too emotional and always give it to the same guy, because you're going to be leaving money on the table when you do that.
Oh, 50%.
Yep. I really love Mark. He's a great buyer. And you get an emotional tie to him, and then you send him the deal every time, and you always selling it to Mark. He's going to be off soon. His offers are going to go down and down and down. He has no competition, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just going to give you a smoking price. Like, hey, I'm going to make $70K on this deal. Just keep bringing them to me. So that's what I think makes a great disposition manager, is someone that's kind of cool-headed. A lot of buyers will get angry at you sometimes, and you gotta have to just kind of stay in that low zone and just kind of talk to them and be professional. And
yeah. How often do you have to defend comps when you send out a deal or provide comps?
I mean, all the time. Like, you send out a property and it's not going to work for, you got 11,000 buyers. It's not going to work for a lot of them, right?
Yep.
You're sending it out at maybe 7-8% profit, and they run their numbers on 10% profit, and they go, hey, this doesn't work for me. There's not enough meat on the bone. I need it 50K below whatever your price was.
Yep.
And I just go, hey, okay, great. I totally understand. Whatever works for you. I'll let you know if we get down to that price. If not, on the next one. And then sometimes I like to be an ass. Very rare, but I'll be like, hey, just to let you know, 8th Street's no longer available when an asking price.
Yeah.
Because I'm educated, like, hey, if those are your numbers, you're probably not going to be a buyer for us. And I let them know the next time they better bring their highest and best. But I'm not really being an ass. I'm just like, hey, it's no longer available. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, you're just educating them on the process, and once they got it figured out, then they know how to communicate with you when they really want the deals.
And every new disposition manager has to deal with that juggling act of that emotion, where they're, hey, I want this. You didn't give it to me. You gave it to the other guy. We were there at the showing at the same time. Like, well, he was cash. You were hard money. Like, he had a better offer. Like,
yep.
I'm never going to work with you again. You're always having to deal with a small percentage of your buyers list when you're new to the scene that's going to be angry at you because they're trying to control the process.
Yep.
And you're the one that's in charge. You're the one that has the goods.
Yep.
You're the one that has what they want. And so you control the process the way that you want it to go.
That's what I started this out with. That's what I started the show with, is having that conversation that says, listen, cash buyer, you should want us to make a huge profit because we're going to go out and find more deals.
Yep.
And it's only a matter of time before we get you that one deal that you put out there and you pop a 6-figure profit on. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about what we're making. We're doing the best that we can to get the best opportunities. We're going to put this money back into the marketing. You should be cheerleading for us to be making a tremendous amount of money.
And that conversation has to be had a lot of times when they see that fat assignment on their HUD settlement statement. Oh, I can't believe you're making $45,000 off of me. And you have to educate them with that conversation. Like, hey,
yep.
We're spending X amount of dollars a month to get these deals. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is not what we're making. We got to pay commissions. We got to pay marketing costs. It costs us money to find these smoking deals for you.
Yep.
So that's not our true bottom line.
Love it. Jeremy, you're the best.
All right, guys. Good luck.
Those deals.
Yep. I'll sell them. You guys go get some good deals out there.
Awesome. Love you, buddy. See ya. Awesome. He is amazing. Jeremy's the best. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about when we're making offers to property owners and they say they want more money. I want more money. All right. So remember that it's price, speed, and convenience. Price, speed, and convenience. Everybody should have a screenshot of this picture right here to help you decide what bucket to put these deals in. The sellers only get 2 when they're selling their property. Okay. If they want the speed and convenience, then it's a wholesale deal. It's a cash as is offer, close in 7 days, close in 10. We got one deal that we signed up on Friday morning in Glendale, Arizona, 10-day close. 10-day close. They want to close in 10 days. Property still has a bunch of stuff in it. They don't want to deal with it. They just want their money in 10 days. They originally wanted $1 million. I want $1 million for this house. We got it for $615,000. Jeremy sold it yesterday for $635,500. So we made $20,500. Not a great deal, not a huge deal, but they wanted to close as soon as possible. They originally wanted $1 million. We got them down $400,000 because they wanted the speed. Listen, if you want to close in the next 10 days, this is the price it needs to be at. Great, let's do a deal. Speed and convenience, and I'm telling you, it's happening every single second of every single minute of every single hour of every single day. People will trade price for speed and convenience. Okay? Now, what if they want speed, but they also want price? Well, they've got two options. Do they want to list it on the MLS and sell it now, or are they willing to get creative? This is when you pull out the creative stuff, right? You can pull out a sub-2 situation. You can certainly learn that from Pace Morby. You could pull out a lease option or a lease purchase or whatever else. I like, if they own it free and clear, this right here, okay? Let's say that you're having a conversation. Let's go to the whiteboard here again, Matt. Let's say that you're having a conversation with the property owner, and the property owner goes, that price is ridiculous. I need to get $100,000 more than that. Okay, great. Well, I can't get you that price in cash. Okay, I think you understand that as an investor, we need to make a profit. It needs this amount of rehab. I need to get this amount of profit. It's going to cost this amount for title and escrow and real estate agents. So I can get you your price. This is just a beautiful line that people are using around the country, and they're getting deals that were not deals before. Okay? Use this, put this in your toolbox. I can get you your price, but it'll have to be in payments. Are you open to payments? I can get you your price, but it'll have to be in payments. Do you understand what I mean? Does that make sense? You could do an open-ended question there if you want, or you can do a yes or no question. Whatever it is, if you want to kind of keep the conversation going, or if you just want to be to the point, just depends on who you're talking to and their personality. People are like, oh, always ask open-ended questions. Not if they're drivers. You know what I mean? Like, get to the point. So it depends on the personality type, in my experience, and I'm certainly not the guru of sales, but I can get you your price, but it'll have to be in payments. Are you open to being the bank on this, and do you understand what that means? How about that? Boom. What does that mean? Okay, well, that means three numbers. 5, 10, 50. I love this. 5, this is the percent, do that, down payment. In this market, a smoking deal is going to be 5% or less down payment. Now, you can start with 0 down, just depending on what price they want. Remember this, if somebody, I will buy pretty much any single-family house that's livable for $1 million. I would. As long as I could pay $50 a month until I pay it off, right? It's either price or terms. So, I mean, you could play around with this. This could be fun. So you got 5% down payment. You want to be less than this typically. Depends on the deal, depends on your buyers, depends on if you want to keep it or if you want to give it to somebody else. If you're looking to buy it yourself, you can maybe increase the down payment, but this is just rules of thumb. I want to make this rules of thumb so that you can take action on this right away, because you're going to talk to a tremendous amount of people that will not take your cash offer. And they probably should list it on the market if they want that price. But we'll go back to that chart of price, speed, and convenience in a second. But part of that is getting creative. Okay, so this is in the creative bucket. They want more of a price. Okay, 5% down. We want a minimum of a 10-year balloon. Can you play around with this? Certainly. But people that want full market value for a property that needs $60,000 worth of work and having real estate commissions and closing costs and all these things at the end of the thing, you're not going to do a 3-year balloon on this. It's ridiculous. That's not a motivated seller. Right? We're deal finders, not deal creators. We're deal finders, not deal creators. We're deal finders, not deal creators. We're looking for motivation. They want to get rid of this property. 10-year balloon as a minimum. Could it be 7? Maybe. DM me. We'll talk about it. And 50% of the rental rate. You go on. Let's go on here. Let's go into Let's see if it has it on realtor.com. Probably not. Let's go to Zillow. And you look at this property right here, and you look to see if they've got rental rates for this one. I think they've got it on Zillow. You could certainly put it in searching. You could just Google search rental rates in the area. I thought that it had a little thingy here that had rental rates. Maybe not in North Carolina, but in some areas. But just find what the rental rate is. You can just put it in a calculator, the rental rate calculator. Somebody put it in the comments. I forget what it is. It's one of those rental rates. You could Google it. It's not a big deal to find it. But you find that and you want to be about 50% of the rent rate. So it says, oh, estimated rent in this area is $1,500. Great. I can give you $750 a month. I can get you totally paid off in 10 years. And I can give you 5% down in the next week. Does that work for you? So this is your payment. Your payment. And they go, well, I want interest rate on it. Great. It doesn't matter as long as it is 50% of the rental rate. You could give them 10%. You could play around with that, but it just depends on how many years you amortize. Yeah. Amort, to pay off. Amortization schedule, whatever it is, you get it. But how long that is? It could be 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years. It just depends on what gets you to that payment. So 5%, 10-year balloon, 50% of the rental rates, and now you've got creative. Now, they don't want that. They want to sell on the market, but they hate agents. They don't want to deal with it. They just want the property sold. They want somebody to take care of everything for them. That's called a novation. It's called a novation. The king of it right here. He's literally the king of novations. Put this on here, Matt. I don't know how to get up here to Richard Wonders, Novation King, right there on Instagram. Once Matt gets there. It's tough to switch them, huh? We got to figure that out. Right here, he's got a website. It's novationjv.com. 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 He will do the deal for you and split it with you. He sent 250 of them, and he's phenomenal. If you don't know Rich Wonders, get Rich Wonders in your life. He is just absolutely just an incredible guy. He's incredible. And so you get to learn how to do a novation. If they want to sell, they want to get a good price. It's a decent condition, and they just want it. They want the convenience. If they want the convenience and they want the price, then it's a novation. Rich Wonders, he's absolutely phenomenal. You can DM him or go to Novation, not Novations, novationjv.com. And he's awesome. It's a great resource. He was in my office. Yesterday doing a podcast. He's incredible. So I would definitely suggest that if you don't understand novations, have him walk you through it, the whole process. Do a couple with him, and then you'll know exactly how to do it and make a fortune. But there's going to be times when you're having conversations with people where their property is livable, probably not totally remodeled, but it's livable. They want to get too much than you're willing to offer for a cash offer. They don't care. Go back to the graphic on the speed, convenience, and price, Matt. Right here. They want the convenience and they want the price, and they don't mind if it takes a little bit longer. Because what a novation is essentially wholesaling to non-cash buyers. You get to get all the rest of the buyers. You get the other 90% of people that buy properties with loans, or 80%, or whatever it is. It's phenomenal. Great resource. Get Rich Wonder in your life. Coming up, we got Jamal Damji. He is the master of wholesale. He has done over 7,000. Is he on yet? He's not on yet. He is traveling, though, so he'll pop on probably right on time here. But he is in Las Vegas. He's running around doing a bunch of high level, high audience membered podcasts in Las Vegas today. So hopefully he can pop on here and give us some wisdom for about 10, 15 minutes. But guys, if there's any questions about this right here, the 5, 10, 50, let me know. Okay. Is this the absolutes? No, nothing in real estate is absolutes. Jamil's here? My man. Let's bring on the king of wholesale, Jamal Damji, Keegley,
What's up, bro?
Astro. How are you, brother?
Good, man. I'm in this terrible town, dude. I'm doing a podcast here.
Are you in the win?
I'm in the win, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I did not. I did win. I put $100 in the machine and it spit out 400, and then I took that 400 and I put it in another one and it took it all.
I love it.
I've been sitting here waiting for you. This stupid Buffalo Gold machine just ate my shit.
I'll tell you what, I feel like I see a lot of ads for that machine right there. It's almost like in our subconscious to pull that thing down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't care. I was literally just waiting to talk to you this morning, so I was like, well, might as well.
Awesome.
But,
so
not a big gambler.
We're having a great show about what to offer property owners in 2024. What the cash buyers are buying at. And nobody has their thumb on the pulse of cash buyers more than you. So talk to us. Like give us a rundown. Give us some percentages that you're seeing.
So real quick, I'm going to bifurcate this conversation, because if you're doing direct to seller versus direct to agent, there's two different pieces of information and worlds that they're coming from. So right now, the agents know what's happening in the market. The agents are feeling the heat. The phone is ringing. You're going to need to come in a little heavier on your offers with agents right now, because the phone is ringing. Deal stuff is starting to get under contract, especially the crappy stuff, the fixer uppers that are priced right. They're getting snapped up. So when you're talking agents now, again, if you're doing agent outreach and you're going agent outreach and getting an off market, you want to be at, I would say, a safe for a high appreciation, high demand market. Okay, so we also have to bifurcate the markets.
Yep.
High appreciation, high demand. That's going to be like, Dallas, Phoenix, Vegas. You know what I mean? Where people like to live, right?
Yep.
I'm not talking Huntsville, Alabama. So where you're going to be at 82% of ARV minus repairs, minus your desired wholesale fee, and make your desired wholesale fee $15K, guys. Stop being stupid. Yep. Right now, especially if you're doing agent outreach, and if you might knock it out of the park and get a $25,000 assignment fee because your buyer will pay more, but do your math based off of $15K. Okay, don't do your math on $70,000. That's not when you're doing agent outreach and you're going to the advocate of a seller who knows the market right now. Okay, now if we're talking a low appreciation, low demand market like Huntsville, Alabama, you're going to be at about 65% of ARV. But again, here's the other thing. Minus repairs, some of these houses are in such disrepair, guys, that it's like it doesn't even make sense. So then what you want to do is you want to start looking at what are the little shit houses. Excuse my language. I'm in Vegas and it's just like downloads profanity into my head. You want to just look at what are the little crappy houses selling for around it, and then it tells you where the investor's at, and then offer 5K less, 10K less, and that should give you an opportunity to make a wholesale fee. Now, if you're doing MLS offers, I'm going to bifurcate the conversation again. Good. Because if it's a brand new listing, you're going to need to come in hard. And if it's priced well. Don't go after brand new listings that are mispriced. Let them suckers sit on the market and give it some time. Let those agents sweat. Let those sellers sweat. Don't start calling them day one. You're just giving them false hope. You see a listing.
How do we know if it's the wrong price? You know what I mean? If they listed it too high.
Well, Privy does a really good job of its algorithm just kind of spits it out at you. Yeah. So you can set it at, hey, I want to see anything at 70% of ARV or less, and Privy will just spit it out at you. So I love Privy for that. That way I don't gotta look at every new listing every morning and comp them all and do the thing, right? So that's one of the beautiful advantages of Privy. So that's freshly listed, well-priced houses. Okay, we're only chasing freshly listed, well-priced houses, and still try to get it about 10K under MLS list price if possible. So you have a little spread there so that you show some value to your buyer, that you worked hard to negotiate. You got a deal, but this is still a deal. It was such a deal. The agent's phone was blowing up. I had a good relationship with the agent. I got it a little bit under MLS list price. I'm selling it a little above MLS list price, but I got a lineup of buyers wanting to take this. So you either want it or you don't want it. Don't give me no trash about it being on the MLS, because I look everywhere for deals. I turn over every rock. That's my job. Now, we're the next lane. Houses 60, 90, 120 on market. You're still gonna go in there and you're gonna give them a real number, a realistic offer. Now, first, don't do this. Just email them an offer. It's never gonna work, because the seller has to sell the idea of the price to the listing agent has to sell the idea of that price to their seller.
Yeah.
So call them, give them the math, explain to them why this is so grossly overpriced and exaggerated, and then align with them. Say, I'm so sorry you have to deal with a seller that's this unreasonable, that they're just making you keep this house like grossly overpriced on the MLS. Let me ask you, are they just messing around, or these guys really want to sell? Like, what's the deal here? Align with the agent, get them on your side, and have the listing agent represent you. So they got 6% and they're incentivized to go advocate for you to the seller. Give them the narrative for the seller so they know what to say. Look, these guys, we're not talking about Ivy League people here, folks. We're talking about just real estate agents. And not a lot of them have, the gift of gab. So sometimes you got to gift them the gab.
Yeah, give them the ammo. Give them exactly what. Tell them what's going to happen with it. What you think the budget's going to be with it. What the reason you came up with that offer. Make it something so that they can go and use logic instead of emotion to submit the offer. Yeah.
Right now, they may reject you. Let's just say 90% of those lower offers are going to be rejections. You're still in the tennis match, my friends. A tennis match, a wholesale deal is a tennis match until the property sells. A rejection is not set point match game. No, a rejection is a volley back to you for a follow-up. That's what a rejection is.
Yep.
And you hit them back in 7 to 10 days and say, it's still there. I'm just wondering, 2 weeks later, what's happening here? You're coming on 180 days now. Are you just going to cancel this and just let it go? Or are we going to just take a shot here and bring reality to the seller, since the reality is not coming to reality?
And I like when they give the rejection, Jamil, because then you get to ask the question, okay, if they can't get their price, what's their plan with the property? And almost every time they say the same thing. Oh, they'll just keep it.
They'll just keep it and rent it out. Okay, so then you're telling me they're not motivated. Got it. They don't really want to sell. So this was a pie in the sky kind of listing.
But as you follow up with them, like you're saying, 7 days, 10 days, are they still going to keep it if they can't get their price? Are they still going to keep it if they can't get their price? Are they still, you know what I mean?
And some just expire. Some just expire, right? And that's just the stubborn seller who was just like, hey, if I don't get this price, I have no motivation. Okay, cool. You can then pull the expired listing list, skip trace it, try to do a creative deal or talk sense to the seller if you want. On your own, right? You can do that. So, guys, we just talked about a few things. We talked about agent outreach for off market. We talked about MLS offers for on market that is freshly listed and well priced. We leave alone freshly listed and overpriced, let them sweat. And 60, 90, 120 days, we have an honest conversation and we arm the agent with the narrative. Okay? Now, next lane, direct to seller. Sellers, they don't know what the hell's happening right now. They're just hearing all the gloom and doom in the world. Interest rates are high. Real estate market is kind of blah. If you're going direct to seller, you actually have a little bit more of an opportunity to have a good price negotiation here, because you can arm yourself with, we're still at 6.5%, interest. It's not a really great market out there for a seller these days. I'm a cash buyer. I'm willing to give you this price. I'll make it quick and easy for you. No hassles, no headaches. I'm bringing speed and convenience to the table, and I'm not making interest rates become a factor in your sale. So this is what I can do for you. And then, you know, of course, Brent teaches you about the 4 pillars, you know, get price, motivation, timeline, all the things, condition. But once you do that, I think direct to seller, you can still be at 70 minus repairs, minus fee, and hit it. And hit it. So I hope this made sense. I wanted to break this down for you guys so that it was like, okay, I see the lanes. I see the way these lanes digress. I see the pathways. I see how these things connect. I see the differences, because don't compare agent outreach to on market. Don't compare on market fresh to on market stale. Don't compare direct to seller to direct to agent. It's a different world and a different conversation every single time. This is why it's important that you arm yourself with the education to understand how to talk to the different types of leads and lead sources that we have available to us as wholesalers.
I love it. So we talked about, Jamal, having the conversation with our cash buyers when they're starting to get a little salty about us getting big checks, right? They start and just having the conversation that, like, listen, you should be advocating us for getting big checks, because then we can stay in the business and we can market more and bring you more deals. Like, do you ever run across this?
I mean, here's my rule of thumb, dude. I'm still, if my fee's 20K higher, I'm doubling it, or I'm doing transactional funding.
Right.
Unless I'm in LA, in which in LA they actually don't care about big S assignment fees. They're like, okay, it's just normal to them. So you know, but if it's over 20,000 for me, I'm maybe 25. I'm gonna double it. I'm just gonna eat the fee. And you know,
explain what that means. Explain what double it means.
I'm gonna double close. That means that my buyer isn't gonna see what my purchase price was.
Right.
And that's it. They're not gonna see what my purchase price is. Now, can they go back and trace it? Yes, they can go back and trace it. Do they typically do that? No. I've never done a double close, and then 2 weeks later had a guy call me and be like, "Hey, he made a little bit of money on that deal." It doesn't happen. When when it stings them when they see the big $40,000, $60,000 assignment fee on the HUD. That's when the buyer's ass starts to burn, right, a little bit.
That's why we had that conversation. That's why we had that conversation. Like, listen, they should be wanting us to market more. It's free deals for them.
It is, and you're right. But what the frame of reference, and not every buyer is as altruistic as you want them to be, right?
I know.
Some buyers are accepting of that, and learn your buyer, guys. You know, you got. I'm gonna try not to say this in a way that's gonna get me canceled. You know, you got some buyers that look like me. They're gonna want a deal, and they ain't gonna want to pay big fees. And you might have some buyers that look like Brent. And they're a little, you know what I'm saying? A little different. They may be a little bit less, a little looser on the purse strings a little bit. Learn your buyers, guys. People have ways of thinking. They got these idiotic principles in their head. It's like, I will not pay a wholesaler more than 10,000. I will not. Okay, well, if that guy is that way, then double close that thing. Just stop arguing with this guy. So don't convince him of why it's important for you to stay in business. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about your business. He only cares about himself. So get him the deal he agreed to get. And if you know this guy's a cheapo, double close that deal.
Love it.
Jamal, ask the questions. Learn it. Learn your people. Learn your buyers.
I love it. You mentioned Privy. Do you have a code for that?
Yeah, if you go to runprivy.com, just use that website, runprivy.com.
How do you spell Privy?
Privy.
Privy. Runprivy.com, guys.
Yes.
Really phenomenal tool. If you're doing deals on the MLS, you need to be using Privy. It's non-negotiable. I mean, it's going to save all.
It just saves so much time and brain damage, bro. I remember when I was doing MLS deals earlier, like when you and I first started banging around out there doing deals, right? Yeah. I would wake up in the morning, man, and I would just be like combing through the MLS, and there'd be like all these new listings, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And I have to look at them all. But eventually you start understanding the neighborhoods and the prices, and then you can just kind of scroll quicker. And then you can also look at the front picture and be like, that looks nice. I'm not even going to bother. Maybe I look at picture 2, hardwood floor, newer kitchen, keep going. It's a remodel. It's not for me. And so you start to get better at it. But what Privy did and their algorithm is actually it's really good because it is it 100%? No, it's about 70%. But to me, if you're going to save me 70% of my time,
yeah,
it's worth it. It's
yeah,
absolutely worth it. Because then I can just run through what just got listed today, that's freshly listed, that's priced well, get on the phone with the agent and get that deal locked up. It will also show me what's been price dropped that now looks like it's a deal. And so you can start to, massage an angle there too. And then you can even you can still go to that agent and get an even deeper discount from the price drop, because
yep,
now you're seeing signs of motivation, right? One of the things to look for in stale listings are signs of motivation. Signs of motivation are motivated words in the listing description. Motivated seller, quick, fast sell, cash buyer, investors wanted, quick close.
I loved back in the day when it was real bad in like 2011, 12. We'll review any offer.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was on a call last night with Amanda Meza from my community.
Yeah.
And she's in LA, and a lot of my folks have been in LA, been killing it. It's one of these limits people have in their heads that Los Angeles is just one of these places that wholesale is not like viable. Absolute BS. So she gets a deal from an agent, and they, I think, I don't want to misquote the numbers, but I can tell you what the price reduction was. So she gets it under contract at a decent price, but they go in and her first buyer goes in and says, "Oh, Amanda, this foundation is like bad.
Yeah.
The whole house is gonna need to get jacked up. You're gonna jack up the whole house. It's gonna be a re-pour. It's a whole thing. Could be like, I don't know, 75, 80,000 bucks. It may be more. We don't know." So she goes in for a $200,000 price drop. Gets it.
Awesome.
Turn around, $45,000 assignment fee. Bada bing, bada boom. To the moon you go, right? So this is what I'm talking about, guys. Don't be afraid to take shots. Don't be afraid to renegotiate. Don't be afraid to be honest. Don't be afraid to have an honest conversation. The coward gets nothing. So when you're just emailing offers to people, like I'm just going to send out offers. I'm just going to send out offers. I'm just going to send out offers. But I don't want to have the tough conversation with the agent. It's not going to get you anywhere. You have not given anybody a use case to work with you. All you've done is sent a listing agent a reason to hit delete. Yep. Because they don't want to have that conversation with that seller, because your offer is low and it's lower than the promise they made to their seller. So it's your job to explain. It's your job to explain. And also when an agent starts, and these are some agent gymnastics, guys, I'm getting into here real quick. Sometimes agent will have a completely out to lunch ARV. I got sent a deal yesterday in my DMs. Sometimes I just get into my DMs and people send me deals and I just explain my thoughts on it, right? So some dude sends me a deal in Newport. I looked at it because my boy Tarek is always buying in Newport, right? So I'm like, let me see. So he's like, hey, this house is available for 3.5 million. ARV is 5 million, he says, right? I'm like, okay, cool. I comp it. I'm like, okay, first, this house looks as though it's been updated. Second, it just closed like 3 months ago at 2.3. You're at 3.5. Second, the ARV is not 5. The ARV is actually what they paid for it, 2.3. And then he sends me a list of comps that are on an island, like that you actually have to take a freaking yacht to get to. These are the comps the agent sent this guy to justify this absolute dog trash. So guys, don't think the realtors understand how appraisers work or how ARVs work or any of this. This is your job to learn. These are our skills. These are the skills wholesalers have to understand and learn, and have to keep ourselves sharp to. This is why Brent invited me on here today, and I'm sitting here in this stinky cigarette smelling hotel having this conversation with you guys today, because these things are important for you guys to understand. Now, I have a video. It's called How to Comp Like a Pro on my YouTube channel. If you're struggling in comps, just go watch that video. It's like 30 minutes long. It's got 100,000 views on it. there's a reason why it got those views, because it's the tool that the majority of the smart wholesalers have used to actually learn how to comp. Learn the appraisal rules. If you can't memorize them, print them out, stick them on your computer or somewhere in your office, and start remembering these things. Remember these things. Understand that Brent and I were at Wholesale Hotline the other day, and the Bazorka family had a deal that was sent to them, and it was on a main road. I mean, listen, depending on price point, that's a 10 or a 20% discount off the highest off the highest comp. So you can't use an interior street comp on that, or
Nope.
you can, but you got to reduce it 20%.
Yep.
So these are the things to keep in mind, folks. But if you do keep these things in mind, and if you do understand the rules of the game, you will be successful at this. You will absolutely be successful at this. It makes you smart. It makes your conversations intelligent when you're making your case to the real estate agents. When you just come in with these blind emails with these low offers that are unjustified, that's where the feeling of is this working comes from, because that's not going to work. And if you're doing something right now, and your results are disproportionately low to the average stats, like Brent can tell you the average stats for whatever lead gen mechanism you're using right now.
Yep.
If your results are so disproportionately lower, then there's something wrong in your process. It's not the model, it's your process, it's what you're doing, right? So just rethink it. Get on one of the Rhino Tribe calls, talk to somebody, be like, hey, this is my process. What am I doing? Oh, I get it. I'm just blindly emailing these agents. I'm not having the conversation. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I get it. They don't remember me because I don't tell them to store me in their phone as Jamil has all the money, or Jamil cash buyer, or whatever it is. Oh, I get it. Lastly, before I finish my rant, don't expect, even if the agent says they're going to save you in their phone, and Jamil has the cash, all the cash or whatever, don't expect people to remember you, and don't get offended when they don't. We're all in a bubble here, guys. Everybody's living in their bubble with their own lives, their own wives, their own husbands, their own kids, their own pets, their own jobs, their own garbage. Everybody's got things going on, and nobody gives a F about what is happening in anybody else's life but their own and their own families. So know that. Don't get offended by that. Use it to your advantage. Information is your superpower if you use it correctly.
You're the best.
I love you.
Thank you, Jamal. Love you, brother. Thanks for joining us from the stinky, I don't know what that would be called, the room with the cash machines. I don't know. What is that thing called? The pit?
What's happening with this guy right here?
I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't
trust him. What's his story?
What's his story? All right, Jamil. Love you, buddy. See you,
man.
Love
you guys. See ya.
See ya. So Jamil mentioned something there about a double close. Let me explain what's going on there. Okay. First off, and he's absolutely phenomenal. You got to check out his comping video. It is phenomenal. So definitely go to Jamil DMG's YouTube channel after the show and check that out. All right. So you can just put us here. This is the seller. This is you, the wholesaler. And here is, let's get a bag of money here. The casino floor. I guess that's what it would be called. I don't know why I called it the money machine. I don't go to casino. I don't know. Anyway, that was crazy. Anyway, here's your buyer. Okay. Now what you typically do is what you do between you and the seller, you've got a purchase agreement. That's what gets signed. And then you do an assignment agreement with your cash buyer. This is when you're assigning the deal. So you guys put together the deal here between you and the seller, and then between you and the buyer, you do an assignment agreement. On that assignment agreement, it's going to show an assignment fee on the closing statement. Some assignment fees have it right on there. Some assignment fees don't. It just depends on what you want to do. We put it on there because we don't care. We're going to have that conversation with our cash buyers, and they're either going to like us making what we make or they're not, and we'll move on and find somebody else because we know we have incredible deals. Anyway, if you're going to do a double close, what you would do is you would do two separate purchase agreements. You get rid of the assignment agreement, and now you become the seller on the purchase agreement. The buyer is here. You remain the buyer on this purchase agreement with this seller, but you have to bring in the money to close this deal. Now, what title companies will do with what's called a double escrow is they will use the money from your cash buyer and filter it through this transaction into this transaction, and you don't have to go and fund it yourself. Double escrow is fantastic. Now, what you have to expect when you do close this purchase agreement is you're going to have to pay closing costs. And typically that's going to be anywhere from, just depending on the price point, but just figure about 2% for the title and escrow fees, title insurance, that type of thing. So when you do a double close, double escrow, you're going to profit less, but you get to avoid the buyer knowing how much you make on that deal. And market by market, some markets, if the buyer knows how much you're making, they just kill the deal, or they try to really beat you up throughout the process, right? Or there's a buyer that, like Jamal was saying, that will never pay anybody an assignment fee of more than $10,000 or $20,000, whatever else, because it hurts their pride to do that, which is silly and emotional, but it happens. Then you bite the bullet, you pay the extra 2% for closing costs, and you're rocking and rolling with two different purchase agreements. Okay, there is no assignment agreement on a double escrow or double close. Now, a double close, you have to bring in your own funds. You have to fund this purchase agreement. You, Mr. or Mrs. Smiley, powerful wholesaler, brings in the funds, closes this. The seller gets paid the same day. The buyer comes in, funds this purchase agreement, and you get paid the difference between this purchase agreement and that purchase agreement, minus your closing costs. Isn't that a clear picture? This is a piece of art. Look at that, Matt. Look at that. It's like an abstract art. That could be in the Met Gallery in New York. There you go. So that's the difference between a double close, double escrow, and an assignment. So they're all great tools. Talk to your title company, closing attorney, and see if they are able to do double close and double escrows. Some, it's against their company policy, and some they don't care. They'll do it, and it's not a problem. They usually do a disclosure. The seller will understand that you're you're funding the purchase of their property with the funds from the sale. So that could be tricky there. If they have a problem with that, they will put a disclosure in that. If you're doing a double escrow, if it's a double close, there's nothing. You bring in the funds, either your own or you get what's called transactional funding. Google it. And you close that deal. The transactional funder typically is going to take 2%. So another 2% off the top of your deal. So you're going to make 4% of the purchase price less, not of the profits. So if that's a $200,000 deal, that's $8,000 more in cost to do a double close than it would in assignment. That's why Jeremy, my disposition manager, who you just met earlier in the show, loves doing assignments because he wants to profit the most, because Jeremy gets bonused off of his what he sells his deals for. If we are under 15,000, he gets 5% of the deal. If we are below 30,000, he gets 10,000. He gets 7.5%. And if we are above 30,000, he gets 10% to sell that deal and to keep our buyers hungry for our deals. And it's worked out really well. So his whole strategy is to get as much as possible for those deals. So just a little insight into our business. Next up, we're going to have Hugh Boy out of Georgia. He's absolutely incredible. Is he available yet, or is he not on yet? Hugh is ready to go. Came here at 16 years old, didn't speak English, but learned it fast, was a little bit timid, right? Timid to get on the phones, was a little bit worried that his accent would throw things off, pushed through anyway. We have a great interview on this YouTube channel with Hugh Boy. It's an inspiration. Hugh Boy, Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Brent? Thank you for having me here. I am good.
Good. Last 3 months, what'd you make?
So the last 3 months, 3 months ago, we decided to scale up our business, and the first one we do that, I made 50K, and the second month is 75, and the last one is just over 101, and this is
Come
like
on.
net after expenses too, like after all the marketing costs. So
That's net?
yeah, that's net after marketing. And the reason is we use super low budget marketing like strategy. We do door knockings, usually just labor, right? So and also we text agents and call agents, like that's super low overhead. I mean, we barely spend more than 3K a month on marketing.
That is absolutely incredible. $3,000. Who's door knocking for you?
It's just my partner. So he's half more time than money right now. So I say, hey, if you knock on the doors, I'll teach you the script, and we can split it 50-50 later if you land a deal. And that's what he do. So
I love it. So does he knock specific doors, or is he knocking any?
he's knocking pre-foreclosure. The people
That's
who are he only knocking pre-foreclosure. So he knock about, I would say, between 50 and 100 doors in a given month. And that's give us consistently, I think, 2 or 3 deals from that. And then the other like 2 or 3, 4 like deals come from agents. So
I love it. So about 2 to 3% success rate. If you knock 100 doors, you get 3 deals.
Yeah, I would think so. Yep.
And they're all pre-foreclosures.
They're all pre-foreclosure. So some of those we have to text step 2 because they owe too much money and they have a good rate. So some of those we do step 2, and some of those we do cash. And the trick is falling to foreclosure, and there's hard time to get a hold of like the actual seller. So like the people who live there is sometimes like not the seller. So we have to hire a private investigator and spend like a couple bucks to like make sure that we skip trace the owner of the property who like is inherited from some, like they don't even know they own the property basically, because we have to go through like the probate. So it's more like a lot of work to get to these deals, but it's like the margin tend to be higher too.
That's incredible. Where do you get your pre-foreclosure lists?
So in Georgia, I can go directly to the newspaper. So what we do, we hire a VA. They look at the newspaper online and they just create a list for us. It takes her about, I think, 4 hours to create like the entire list for Georgia. And we text all of them, but then we door knock the one that we cannot text. So, I mean, we knock the one that's really close to us, and we text the one that really far away. So
how many pre-foreclosures are you looking at on a monthly basis? Do you have kind of an average?
So I know that for the door knocking, it's about 100 address for the entire state of Georgia. I think it's between 500 and 1,000 on a given month. So you go to the door, you knock on the door, the owner answers, and what does your guy say? I follow exactly the video that you and Paige Moby did a couple of years ago. We say, hey, we're just trying to help. We have 7 options to like prevent you from like losing your house. Like, don't mention anything about selling. Don't mention anything about buying. Just trying to see if we can help, because most of the time, like, they're gonna do a loan modification anyway. So like, they gotta try that, they gotta fail that before they would talk to us. And we have so many deals from my people who we knocked doors 3 months ago. They do something to prevent the foreclosure in the meantime, but 2 months later we keep following up, and then it just come right back. So like, it doesn't have to be the deal like on the same month. It could be the deal in a future month as well.
Yeah, you want to see, have you tried to do a loan modification? Can you get money from your
friends and family,
from your family members? Do you have enough equity to just sell it on the market? Can you get a home equity loan to get caught up with the rest of it? You want to go through all the different options to see what they've tried, and also what's the best way to serve that person. You don't want that person to go through foreclosure. It's a mess. It stays on it stays on your credit for 7 years. It totally destroys your credit. I mean, your credit's getting pretty beat up from missed payments anyway. But if you can avoid, I'm telling you, some of the greatest, some of the most rewarding deals I've ever done was saving people from foreclosure.
Yeah, exactly. Likewise. Yep. There's a deal with like we have to they owe so much behind it. They have to give us money even though we don't want to. We just have to give. They have to give us money for us to like close on the deal, and those are rare. But those do happen. So what happened was they lost their job a couple months ago, so like they fall behind. Now they have money. They don't have all the money to catch up the entire payment, but they have maybe like a few $1,000s. They would say, hey, if you work with us, we'll still have to spend money on our end to like do like all the legal stuff and kind of just make sure you're taken care of. So like they actually sometimes like, in rare cases, they do like actually give us the money, like this, not the buy, but from the seller, because there's just no meat on the bones. So like the seller have to give us a couple grand for us to like coordinate the whole thing and make sure that, you know, the deal got to the finish line. So
the seller's giving you money?
Yeah. So if the deal is super tight, meaning if there's like a bunch of
if they
lien,
have to come in with cash to close it.
Yeah. So
Got it. Yeah.
I mean, they might owe, you know, 20K on the mortgage and maybe another 10K in like tax lien or like water lien or whatever. And then, you know, the buyer can only bring like 30K. So like they got to gap the difference. And we would close the deal even if we don't make any money. And if we can help somebody avoid foreclosure, we're still going to do that. And sometimes we have sellers say, hey, I cannot pay the $5,000 rent, but I'll pay you back within like 12 months. So like they actually give us, you know, we draw a promissory note. We take about a couple $100 from them per month for 12 months. And, you know, if they don't pay it in the future, we're not going to go sue them. It's just what it is. We're trying to just make the best of the situation, but we do have seller pay us over time as well to help them avoid the foreclosure. Definitely.
Awesome. That's incredible. So just to circle back to it, I knock on the door, they open the door. What's the first thing that you guys say?
Say, hey, is it Brent?
Yeah, I'm Brent. What are you doing here?
Hey, Brent, I was trying to get a hold of you for the past few weeks. Our company, what we do is we help people avoid foreclosure. I'm sorry, we help people who are having issue with the bank. So I just want to make sure I stop by and make sure that you are getting taken care of and you're not going to lose the house to the bank.
I love it. Issues with the bank. You like that over saying foreclosure?
Yeah, I try to avoid effort until like later in the game. When they say, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about." Hey, I just noticed, you know, on the newspaper it's gonna be foreclosed in the month. If they try to like not being direct with me, I would call it out. But sometimes, like most people understand when we talk about an issue with the bank, they know what we're talking about. So
if they don't answer, are you doing a leave behind?
Yeah, I print out a bunch of like papers. I have a tape, and if they don't answer, we just tape right in the front door. Sometimes we tape on the garage. If there's like multiple doors, we tape all the doors. And I would say we receive about like probably between 5 and 10% of the people that we leave the note, they would call us back. So
what do you leave?
Just the same script. Say, hey, my name is Hugh. I help people avoid issue with the bank. If you need some help, let me know. Here's my number. And just pretty simple like that. No mention of selling, no mention of buying. Yeah.
Is this something you print out or is it handwritten?
I print out like handwritten would be better, but then for the sake of saving time, we just print out a bunch of them and stick it on the door. Because
Yeah, we used to go and get. I think I was buying them at Staples at the time because Amazon wasn't big yet, but like the 5x7 and a half like Post-it notes with the lines on it, and they have like stickies. And you would just write. I would just write "call me" and put my phone number. I'd say "call me, Brent," put my phone number and just stick it to the door. And I got a tremendous amount of calls that way. I think if you clarify a little bit on what you're doing. It'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting split test, you know, if you just call me in a number versus, you know, letting them know exactly what you're doing. You know, does mystery do a better job of converting, or is it being specific? That'd be interesting to test. Yeah.
Yep. And you do want those people to call you back, even if they don't want to sell, because you know that is probably like the highest motivated seller you can find on any given list. Like it's higher motivation than probate, is higher motivation than driving for dollar. It's just because they have a deadline that they have to meet. So like that is like the top tier motivation. So even if they don't want to sell at all, you still want to keep their number because they're gonna come back in the future. At least some of them will. So
I love it. Hugh, what are you doing for your cash buyers? What percentage are they buying at for you?
Yeah, so I was writing on some note here, and I do have some stat. We pull some of the past deal we done, and I would say for us, if the deal is like between 150 and 200 ARV, then we would use 75% time ARV minus repair, and those are only for like easy flip, meaning you don't have to gut anything, you don't have to deal with like major like crap, so for an easy cosmetic flip, we're using 75%. For an uglier flip, we use 70%, or sometimes we use 65%. If it's just like a home that built, between before 1950, where they would have to replace all of the major thing, actually we have no idea what the buyer think until like we do a bunch of deals and then they give us the feedback. So like they don't really like and I flip house myself too, and I would never touch those older houses, but some people do, and they do want to have a deeper discount for the work that they do, because it's going to be more risk for the buyer as well. So they do want a deeper discount for those uglier and older homes.
For sure. I mean, there's something to be said there too. That's a great point. Man, every guest that I've had on the show just brings something extra that's perfect. Jeremy was talking about rural and low population. You're talking about, the bigger the project, the longer the project, the more profits they're going to want to make. Yeah. And so you're giving them,
and especially in this market where like they don't know if the price is going to go up. So if they have to wait 6-9 months to get to the project, like who knows what the market is going to do at that time. So like they want to get in and get out. And me myself too, like if I were to flip, I don't want to commit for like a 12-month, 16-month project, because if the price go down, and it did in 2022, like we all got our like pants got caught. I lose some money on some flip in 2022. So 2020. So I kind of understand why the buyer have to go through that. And that's like the ammo that I take and explain to the seller and the agent the exact same way. Say, hey, typically we don't need that much of a discount, but it's a longer project, like a lot of risk for us. No idea what the market's going to do. So we have to put more buffer into our offer. I mean, if this is an easier cosmetic flip, then we would be higher in our price, but because of the condition, we have to be where we are. So
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And you're all over Georgia now.
So I am
Stop doing flips, by the way. What are you doing?
I know. I need to. Yeah. So the only reason why I'm doing flip is I gotta be like on the same game with the agent, because when I'm talking, say, hey, I flip houses. I do like it just give me some more ammo to like reach out to agents. Say, hey, I still do. If they ask my flip, I have something to show them. It's not. I think wholesale is a cleaner way to scale. It's just I gotta do the flip just to like stay sharp with the skills. So I'm only doing like once per month, like nothing more than maybe once every 2 months. So just kind of keep the skill going.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
I just know, a lot of people were, hey, freshman year, and this is Jerry Norton. He says this all the freshman year is wholesaling, sophomore year is flipping, junior year is rentals, and the senior year is multifamily. And I get that, but the higher up you go, the more risk.
So when we make the biggest months, 3 months ago, I have to really think, hey, do I want to go flip, or do I want to just keep doing what I'm doing? I have to make a hard choice. Like, even though the flip is tempting because you see the biggest spread at the end, but then just like I make a conscious decision to like say, hey, let's just stick to like most of the deal we're gonna wholesale, and we only flip if doesn't matter what we do, we're still gonna make money. If that's only the deal that I'm gonna flip. And just going back to your percentage, I do have if the ARV is between 200 and 300, we increase the price by like I think 2.5%. So we're gonna do 72.5 for a ugly flip, and we're gonna do like 77.5 for like an easy flip. And then if it's go above 300, then we just multiply by 80% if the property is just easy. Because at the higher price point, like the buyer understand they don't need a bigger like percentage discount.
Yep, love it. Hugh, how can people get a hold of you?
They can find me on Facebook. I'm sure if they type in HIEU BUI, probably one of the first things that's gonna pop up, because I'm posting every day on social media. So don't have a good handle for my social media yet, but they can look me up online. I look just like the picture that you see on the screen right now. So
in Facebook. Yeah,
Facebook.
Oh, awesome. Hugh, incredible. So happy for you. I mean, incredible end to the year, a net of over 6 figures. That's bananas. Spending $3,000 a month, guys. Make sure if you are in Georgia that you connect with Hugh and get them into your network. Be around people that are doing extraordinary things. Hugh, thanks for being on here, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate it, Brent. Thank you.
All right, great to see you. Wow, what a show, Matt! What a show. It's been absolutely phenomenal. I had a really great time with you guys today. Yeah, again, I think just to kind of put a bow on this, if you pull the inventory, if you're just jumping on now, make sure you go to the beginning to see how we pull the inventory. Very easy to do. But if you have 3 months of inventory or less, you're going to be at 80% minus repairs. If you are at more than 3 months, you're going to be at 70%. And if you are less than 1 month, we're kind of jumping around there. 3 months, more, less than 1 month, boom. What you get it, 90% minus repairs. 90% minus repairs. Awesome. Matt, you want to come out here, say goodbye to everybody? There's one question. Uh-oh, Glenn, close that deal, received my check yesterday, $5,000. Come on. I love it. Congratulations, Glenn. He's on a roll. Absolutely incredible. Thank you for joining us. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you do subscribe. We have tremendous amount of resources at wholesalinginc.com. On behalf of Matt and myself, remember, keep your house clean, right? Your actual house, and then this house, obviously. Protect your health and increase your value to the world. You'll live a fantastic life. I love you guys. Go out there, talk to people, find some incredible deals. See you next week. Boom!